Good afternoon, football fans. Big Al here on this Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. And this is a look at the week football schedule and the broadcast for every game. Now, we will waste no time. We're going to jump right in. As you can see, there are 2 games on the schedule on Thursday night. There are 5 games on Friday, and then you got a full slate on Saturday, and we have 2 games that have been impacted by Hurricane Ian that will take place on Sunday. So let's jump right into the Thursday schedule. Again, only 2 games on the schedule. At 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on the SEC network is South Carolina State at South Carolina. That's Dave Neal and Deuce McAllister. An hour later, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. Number 19 BYU hosting Utah State. Matt Berry and Louis Riddick. Now to the 5-game slate on Friday. Beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on East, Tulane at Houston, Beth Mullins and Kirk Morrison. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific on CBS Sports Network, Texas San Antonio at Middle Tennessee, Dave Ryan and Dante Whitmer. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on FS1, San Diego State visiting Boise State, Alex Faust and Petros Papadakis. At 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on ESPN is number 15 Washington at UCLA, Roy Philpott, Andre Ware, and Paul Carcatella. And at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on Sports Network is New Mexico at UNLV, Carter Blackburn, and Tom Herman. That brings us to the Saturday portion of the schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got 10 games getting underway at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific to begin the day. On ABC is number 18 Oklahoma at TCU. Mark Jones, Robert Griffin III, and Quint Kessenich. On CBS is Navy at Air Force, Rich Waltz and Taylor. On Fox's Big Noon Saturday is North Michigan, Iowa, Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. On ESPN is number 7 Kentucky at number 14 Ole Miss, Sean McDonough and Todd Blackledge. On ESPN2, Purdue at number 21 Minnesota, Anish Sharaff and Brock Osweiler. On PNU is Temple at Memphis, John Schifrin and Renee Eagle-Gila. On BTN is Illinois at Wisconsin, Lisa Byington and Anthony Herring. On TC Network is Louisville at Boston College, Chris Cotter and Mark Herzlich. On CBS Sports Network is Georgia State at Army, Jason Knapp and Ross Tucker. And rounding out the 12 noon games on ESPN Plus is Texas Tech, number 25 Kansas State, Mark Neely and Ryan Leaf. The next game doesn't begin until 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, and that's on ESPN Plus. Texas State at James Madison. There's no broadcast team named for that game. At 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Pac-12 network, you've got Oregon State at number 12 Utah with Ted Robinson and Yogi Roth. You got Northern Illinois at Ball State and Massachusetts at Eastern Michigan, both on ESPN Plus at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And no announced teams have been named for either of those games. And then rounding out the early afternoon portion of the Saturday schedule at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, ESPN Plus, is East Carolina at South Florida, and this game is being played in Boca Raton, probably because of Hurricane Ian. There's no announced team name for this game either. All right, now we've come to the late afternoon portion of the schedule, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Looks like you've got 15 games. I'll count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep. There are 15 games kicking off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. On ABC, you have number 22 Wake Forest at number 23 Florida State. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, and Tom Luginbill. On the Home Depot SEC on CBS is number 2 Alabama at number 20 Arkansas. Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson. On Fox is Oklahoma State at number 16 Baylor. Jason Benetti and Brock Huard. On ESPN is Northwestern at number 11 Penn State. Bob Wischusen and Dan Orlovsky. On ESPN2, Iowa State at Kansas. Brian Custer and Dustin Knox. On FS1 is Michigan State at Maryland. Noah Eagle and Mark Helfrich. On BTN is Rutgers at number 3 Ohio State. Brandon Gaudin and Joshua Perry. On the ACC network, Virginia Tech at North Carolina. Dave O'Brien and Tim Hasselbeck. On CBS Sports Network, Fresno State at Connecticut. Megan McPeak and Christian Fourier. On the NFL Network, Central Michigan at Toledo. Jason Ross Jr. and Teoka Jackson. And the remaining games at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific are being on ESPN Plus. The Citadel at Appalachian State will be called by David Jackson and Avery Hall, and there are no announced teams named for Gardner Webb at Marshall, Bowling Green at Akron, Miami of Ohio at Buffalo, and Ohio at Kent State. At 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on the SEC network, you have number 17 Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Taylor Zarzar and Matt Stinchcomb. And Georgia Southern at Coastal Carolina and Florida Atlantic at North Texas are both on ESPN Plus, and there are no broadcast teams named for those two games. At 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific, on ACC Network Plus and streaming on ESPN Plus is Wagner at Syracuse, Courtney Lyle and Charles Arbuckle. And streaming exclusively on ESPN Plus at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific, is South Alabama at Louisiana Lafayette, no broadcast team name. At 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific on Pac-12 Network, California at Washington State, Roxy Bernstein and Lincoln Kennedy. At 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, is Liberty at Old Dominion on ESPN Plus. Also, New Hampshire at Western Michigan and Texas El Paso at Charlotte. Both of those are on ESPN3, and there are no broadcast teams named for those three games. That brings us to the evening portion of the schedule. You've got 4 games kicking off at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. On ESPN is LSU at Auburn, Joe Tessitore and Greg McElroy. On ESPNU is Cincinnati at Tulsa, Jay Alter and Hudson Mason. And on ESPN Plus, you've got Louisiana Monroe at Arkansas State and Troy at Western Kentucky. No broadcast teams were named for those 2 games. You have 7 more games kicking off at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. On ABC's Saturday Night Football this week is number 10 NC State at number 5 Clemson. Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. On FS1 is West Virginia at Texas. Tim Brendel and Spencer Tillman. On the SEC network is number 1 Georgia at Missouri. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelic. On BTN is Indiana at Nebraska. Mark Followell and Matt Millen. On CBS Sports Network, San Jose State at Wyoming. Chris Lewis, Robert Turbin. On ACC Regional Sports Networks is Virginia at Duke, Tom Wormy, and James Bates. And on ESPN Plus is UAB at Rice. No broadcast team named for that game. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on the ACC network, Georgia Tech at number 24 Pittsburgh. Wes Durham and Roddy Jones. And then on Bally Sports Arizona, Comcast Cable New Mexico, and Flow Sports at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Florida International at New Mexico State, no broadcast team named. And towards the end of the night, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on Pac-12 Network is Colorado, Arizona. J.B. Long and Max Brown. At 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on ESPN, Arizona State at number 6 USC, Fleming and Rod Gilmore. And the final game of the night at 11 p.m. Eastern Pacific on FS1 is Stanford at number 13 Oregon with Alex Faust and Petros Papadakis. And then the 2 games that were moved to Sunday due to Hurricane Ian, you've got Eastern Washington at Florida at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on SEC Network Plus and streaming on ESPN Plus. That game will be called by Drew Carter and Aaron Murray. And then at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, you've got Southern Methodist at Central Florida. And they did not announce a network or where this game will be played, nor did they announce a broadcast team for this game. So that's a look at the Week 5 schedule in college football, plus all the broadcast teams for each game. I will be making my picks for Week 4 in the NFL, both straight up and against the spread. I'll also be going over the maps of all the Sunday afternoon games. And I'll bring you all that information on the channel tomorrow, so please join me for that. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pigskin. Peace out.